So Emperor Doom has made the biggest mistake of his life and he knows it. Now, from the last time here that we covered One Word Under Doom, we had found out that Doom had been siphoning energy here from his own people in Latveria who are currently trapped in boxes just so that he could boost his Sorcerer Supreme powers. So what that does here is that it leads to some fallout here with some of his believers. Now, the loud ones who are against him here, like J. Jonah Jameson, well, they've been dealt with here by Doom, of course, or I should say Doom bots. And then there are others who still believe in him anyways, because one was just like, listen, I don't know anyone from Latveria anyway, so it seems fine to me, while some still believe that, listen, like Doom said, that they volunteered for this, so it seems to be all good. So what ensues here from this is that we start to see these attacks here against Doom. Now, initially, we see armies, and Doom laid waste to these armies here. You can actually see one of the battles where there are just skeletons lying on the ground. Because after all now, no one defies Doom and gets away with it. So after that plan has failed, remember that Maria Hill here had a plan. Now, it's not entirely clear what exactly that plan is, but being that Doom is distracted, she sees this as an opportunity here for her to enact that plan. So what she does here is that she gathers all the troops, and I mean all the troops. We got the Fantastic Four, and yeah, Reed is somewhat okay right now, minus of course an eye. We got the X-Men, we got the Avengers, and yes, a Beta Ray Bill is here now because remember, no one remembers who Thor is anymore due to the events that happened here at the end of Immortal Thor. And then we see here the villains that were also working with them as well. So what they do here is that they go to attack Doom again, but this time it's a little bit different. Now, as before, it is now being broadcasted live on TV. And what we see here is a narration from Valeria Richards. As she mentions, she's like, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. I'm Valeria Richards, and as I watch, as the world watches, each of them, all of them, now come from my godfather. And I gotta say, I just love how ridiculous the Doom dinosaur continues to look. I love it. But then Valeria continues. She's like, months ago, he came to me to justify what he was doing. And he told me that he sought glory. But then she's like, that glory is now dead. All that is left is power and control. And as I watch Doom take the ruins of his castle, using them first as missiles and then to crush the heroes, I can see that his plans have changed. And here we see the Fantastic Four family, the rest of the Fantastic Four family, watching from the family farm there in Arizona. So in this next moment here, what we see are the heroes attack Doom. But what Doom was not prepared for was that thing that I said that was a little bit different. Because while the team here was going on a frontal attack, well, Reed Richards, he was doing an attack from a different dimension. Because in this next moment here, what we see is that now Doom has been flung into the astral plane. I can't believe I just said flung. But let's move on. And what he does up here, Reed is like, greetings, Victor. And Doom is just like flabbergasted. He's like, no, it's not him. He could never stretch his thinking enough to, but he has. And Doom continues, he's like, the world's oldest, stupidest dog has finally learned a new trick. So then Reed is like, I was thinking that we might have ourselves another chat. He's like, I had hoped that revealing your true face to the world would lead you to step down, Victor, but I was wrong. And so this is plan B. Since the start of you've been winning simply because you've been more powerful every step of the way. You've been wielding a weapon I don't understand. Magic, time magic, dark magic, sorcerer supreme magic. But I've been studying it, building up a table of its repeatable properties. It's periodic, did you know? I have a real problem with magic, but I'm great at science. I've been building a new science, Victor. And you know what my favorite part of science is? It's that anyone can wield it. You don't need to be special or chosen. You don't even need to think that you're a god. You simply need to put in the work. And that's what I've been doing since you started this whole nightmare. I've been learning, harnessing. And so here I am on the astral plane, having studied how you defeated Dormammu. I know I can still stop this. I know I can still fix this. So let us proceed, Sorcerer Supreme versus the Scientist Supreme. And I gotta say, while this moment is kind of dope, I can only just keep on thinking to myself, like, I hope that Aang didn't already patent this, because otherwise this man might be sued. But listen, let's move on. So it's here where Reed is like, let us, you and I, decide the fate of our world. And then we see Reed doing kind of the same thing, right, that Doom had already done. He pulls out the little magic or scientist supreme Wolverine claws. He says, flame on. But Doom is like, come on, man. Ridiculous, laughable, gormless. He is a clown, clumsily playing at godhood. Even as he attacks, he tries to talk to me, debate me, distract me. I ignore it all. Even so, for a man of Richard's staggering limitations, just being here on the astral plane is a remarkable achievement. Remarkable in the same way an animal driving a vehicle is remarkable. The insults. But it is nowhere near enough. He's already told me his weakness without even realizing it. Dormammu. He's attacking me with the spells that I invented, thinking that they might somehow overwhelm. He is a child, dressed in his emperor's clothes. He is a forger and a thief and a clumsy, entitled, ambitious pretender. He is Uriah Heep, ripped from the pages of Dickens, and as we grapple, his eyes seem to take on every shade of color that could make eyes ugly. I correct him for his hubris against his emperor. I move him into an infinitely iterated fractal dimension where every cell of his body is stretched farther and farther. So far, in fact, that they can no longer be traditionally measured. And finally, I remove us both from the astral plane, forever sealing it from him. The two of us return to Latveria, to the battlefield. And as Reed is pleading, Victor, please, Doom continues. He's like, he begs for mercy. Richards begs for my mercy. But to the victor belongs the spoils. As he says, you won't die, Richards. I promise nothing more. Now, in this moment here, we jump back to Valeria Richards with the rest of the family. And she can't just sit on the sidelines while she does nothing. So she tells Franklin Richards about this plan that she has. So Valeria comes up with this plan here, which is basically to try to communicate with him or get his attention through Morse code. And she does this here by creating a hypersonic signal transmitter that is geared to resonate here with his armor. So when she does her thing, tick, 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 tack, tick, tack, tick, tack, tack, tack. Listen, I tried. Initially, nothing happens at first until it does. And then she just gets transported away. And when she gets on the other side, who does she see? The Godfather Doom, who of course is ever so impressed. And he's like, you got my attention. I wonder, Valeria, what you will do with it. So Valeria asked a question. She's like, this mindscape, Sorcerer Supreme magic, I take it. To which Doom is like, yeah, some of it. The rest is me. So she asks a question. She's like, you're still fighting them, mom and dad and the rest? And he's like, yeah, in the astral plane. Your father proved to be slightly, well, surprising, I suppose, is the right word. Irritating, perhaps. So Valeria thanks Doom for allowing her father to continue to live. To which Doom is like, I did it for you, Valeria. I did it for you. But he continues, he's like, even as we speak right now, my Doombots are putting down other uprisings throughout the world. Combined with your father's attack on the astral plane and the ongoing battle in Latveria simultaneously, marshaling all fronts is significant. So, meaning our time here must be short. But even when the world comes to Castle Doomstat, intent on destroying me, Doom always has time for his goddaughter. And he mentions, it's like, you remain the only one who holds Doom's favor, Doom's respect, and Doom's love. But I repeat myself, what do you want, Valeria Richards? So she continues on. She's like, all of this you said, this was for glory, but it's not anymore. Now it's just what? To prove that you weren't wrong? To prove that you're still the best of us? Where does this end? And please, Uncle Doom, I want you to stop. But he's like, I know that's what you want at the present, but let me tell you where this ends, Valeria. It ends in victory. Everything has a cost, everything, and everything truly great costs more. But she continues to make her point. She's like, when this began, you were trying to manufacture consent to win hearts and minds and moral rights from the governed. But this isn't that. This is coercion. They'll never accept it. To which he's like, they will. The language you speak, the very language that you think in, was coerced onto your ancestors once. Now you call it your mother tongue. It takes time, Valeria, That's all. But Valeria's like, it's not going to work. You can't hold an entire population by force. To which his response is like, the rhetorical "you can't." That's true, but Doom can. Doom will ensure that what happens today happens forever. And you forget that Doom is not without his supporters. It is only a violent minority who threaten the safety, security, and the prosperity of everyone else. Watch, Valeria, and I will prove it to you. Be well, and we will speak soon. And just like that, he sends her back. And just to make sure that Valeria can't contact him again, he adjusts his armor so that it will no longer resonate with her signals. Now back here in Latveria on the battlefield. And now it's here where we know that the team finds out that, of course, that whatever Mr. Fantastic tried to do, that thing did not work. In the meantime, though, what they've managed to do is to take down Doom's dinosaur. They know that Reed is still alive, but he is not in good shape. We also find out here from Maria that currently right now that Doom is being attacked by the X-Men in mass, and that they're using power combinations that they haven't seen since Krakoa. But she knows that in order for them to be able to win, that they have to hit Doom with something else. So she calls out to Squirrel Girl. She's like, hey, you gotta do Maneuver 99. And as for the Invisible Woman and Iron Man, you're on Maneuver 110. So when we pick up here on Invisible Woman and Iron Man, what we see here is this massive infernal flame gear that is engulfed or seemingly engulfing Dr. Doom. And it's mentioned here, Johnny mentions how it's a fire hurricane, courtesy of Storm. She brings the weather and he brings the fire. And how they've got Doom inside a city-sized rock tumbler at 2,000 degrees. So here, Invisible Woman mentions Maneuver 110, and she calls out to Aurora. She's like, I bend all the energy Tony can produce in an infinite loop, then hit Doom with all of it at once. Cyclops, if you care to join. And of course, Cyclops is like, yeah, I'm down with pleasure. And Storm is like, just do the thing, because I don't know how long this hurricane will last, but for the moment, I can hold him. So while Invisible Woman tries to do her thing, so on another front here, remember, Doom is being attacked on all fronts here. So he mentions in this moment, he's like, my armor is immune to Iceman's temperature manipulation. So he falls back to attacking me indirectly with airborne ice, cooled nearly to absolute zero. And the thing, Dr. Hank Beast McCoy, as always, living up to his nom de plume. But he can think of nothing more effective to do than to throw rocks at their betters. And of course, now comes Dr. Storm, bending her allies' energy. But I am Sorcerer Supreme. I am Emperor of Earth. Even a week's worth of their powers hitting me in a femtosecond would be insufficient. It is all so petty, so cheap, so intolerable. I have perhaps permitted mutants their powers for too long. It seems those who stand against me have forgotten something. Anything an X gene expresses can be unexpressed by one with mastery supreme of chaos magic. So right then and there, the Sorcerer Supreme Emperor Doom knocks Storm out of the sky. And as Johnny catches her, she says, she's like, my connection to the world, my powers, they're gone. And when we look on the ground, we see Iceman's powers dissipating. We see Beast, his powers dissipating. And then Doom with his cocky ass comes down and he's like, you claim that you could hold me for a moment, Aurora Monroe. That moment appears to have passed. And as Doom continues to walk, Sue was like, you monster. And Emperor Doom is like, nah, not monster, Dr. Storm, Emperor. And then he snaps and he's like, and the next time that we meet, you will address me as such. Like, this jerk. It's one thing to knock Storm out of the sky, but then to also then say, nah, you can call me Dr. Storm now. But you know, our Emperor Doom here is ever so merciful, right? Because he's like, what I have done to you mutants is temporary, unlike what the Scarlet Witch once did with the savagery. When you leave this battlefield, your powers will return, where they will then be joined. I trust by the knowledge of that they only exist at Doom's pleasure. And then he snaps again. And he's like, the powerless X-Men cannot prevent their forced retreat. Already I am winning. And then there's her. And what we see here is Squirrel Girl grabbing onto Emperor Doom's legs. And Doom's like, Doreen Green, the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Listen, don't mess with Squirrel Girl now. She's taking out some powerful foes here. And he's like, a world's army has fallen against me, and you expect your attack alone to succeed? Are you a fool? But then Squirrel Girl is like, nah, fam, I got maneuver 99. That's the one where I'm the big old distraction from what's going on behind you right now. And when we look and we see, first and foremost, Reed Richards look ugly. Like Doom did a number on him. But here he has one last thing to do. He's like the mighty aspirants of the first firmament. And then we see this power emit from him. As Doom mentions how I left Richards alive, barely. He should be unable to fight, unable to attempt to combine his science and sorcery, but he's doing it. And then I see it. Every hero who can produce energy does so. And Susan bends it all towards the shattered hammer, Stormbreaker. And Richards is magically imbuing all of their abilities into a single item. It is unprecedented. In this next shot, love how this looks right here, because we see the thing that picks up Stormbreaker. As he says, he's like, well, would you look at that? Turns out Aunt Petunia's favorite blushing blue-eyed nephew is worthy after all. Love it. This is for messing with me and with my family, Vic. And I know you know what time it is. And as he charges in and hits Emperor Doom right on, Krakoom! We see Emperor Doom flying. And in the aftermath here, Iron Man's like, did we? And Sue's like, nah. And at this point, man, Doom has had it. He's like, you come at me with all the strength, trickery, and hope that you can muster, naively expecting them to carry the day, but they won't. Heroes, they never could, for Doom answers you with his will. This is it, my ultimate victory, and to ensure it stands eternal against magic, against time, travel, against trickery of all kinds, I do what I have always planned to do, and I transform this moment, forging it into a fixed point in time. What has happened will now always happen. It will not, cannot be changed. I bend time, bend causality itself to forever and indelibly inscribe my eternal achievement onto the very fabric of the cosmos. And then I use my assailants' own innovation against them. All my magics, all my powers, I feed into my armor. None but Doom could ever keep them in check. But of course, I don't want them to hold. I cease to even make the attempt, and my armor explodes into millions of magic-infused shards that saturate the battlefield. It turns a loss into a draw, into a win. It is everything I have, and it is spectacular. Before the eyes and cameras of a planet, I defeat everyone. Every shard finds a target, with power enough to bring these enhanced heroes to the edge of death. But to just barely and painfully survive, they tear through their armor, through their flesh, through their bones. I've never been more magnificent. It's perfect. All see Doom at his most glorious, creating an image they will carry with them forever. Without armor, my face is exposed, but I still have enough magic to hide it from the same world I address. Witness how these poor souls live still, because today, Doom permits it. Doom is wisdom. Yes, and Doom is strength, but Doom is also mercy. And even the dullest of animals understand pain. Thus, Doom has hurt these misguided heroes as no one else could grievously. I give myself a restored mask, a new beginning. In fact, these creatures have learned should they ever resume their attack, Doom will not be this charitable again, and each will be forced to make reparations too. But then what stops him right here in his tracks, mid-speech, is that he hears the words that say, "Unk," and when he turns his head, he says, "Who dares?" And then the magic goes from his eyes as he looks on and says, "No, no." And it is the voice of Valerie Richards as she walks, "Unk, Unk," with magic shards here from his armor into her arms. One of her legs already cut off, others in her stomach, and then one right around her neck. And as she stretches out and says the words doom, all we see is Valeria's head fall to the ground. Now, this is shocking. And I know a lot of y'all are like, well, he could just bring her back. But here's the thing. Remember that Doom just said that this is going to be a fixed point in time. So I'm not sure that he's actually going to be able to bring her back. But listen, what are y'all thoughts here? I was not overly thrilled here with issue number 6 because I was not a fan of the fact that he used his own people to be able to empower him. Of all the things that we know about Doom, he wouldn't use his own Latvarians to do that. He would use somebody else's people from some other country to like siphon off their power. But either way, what do y'all think here? The finale for this is going to show up here in the next couple of weeks, actually another month or so. What are y'all thoughts so far? How have you been feeling about this series? Leave it down below in the comments. Also, don't forget here to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, and check out our links that are down below in the description where you can actually go to our Keepin' It Comic website so that you can keep up with Keepin' It Comic, but then also as well, other ways to be able to support the channel too. We appreciate you watching. Thank you as always for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye.